everyone, my name is Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, and today is the start of Face Off. Hello everyone. You may wonder why I have flags. Well, that is because this weekend is the Amazing Race Face Off weekend, and everything that I am doing this weekend has to do with flags from the European Union. So tonight, Face Off begins, and Face Off has everything to do with the European Union flags. So we have a spinner wheel, and basically we spin the wheel, and whatever flag we get, we have to pick a book that has those colors of the flag on the cover. And the whole point is to win some GRC for your team. And I need some GRC, Team Blue. We need to win this. We need to read the most books this weekend. So my goal this weekend is quantity of books. I need to read all the books because it's all about the number of books read, not the number of pages, but the number of books. There's obviously a ton of rules, but by the time you're seeing this video, the weekend will be over, so I'm not going to go into all of that. And I hope that you had a fantastic face-off weekend if you're watching this now, or a fantastic weekend, or a fantastic time watching this if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Let's jump into my first roll. So I am not going to put all the rolls on camera because I'm hoping to do a ton of rolls because we are actually sprinting for 48 hours. Between all the hosts, we will be live for 48 full hours. I cannot believe we pulled this off, but here we are. So tonight at 9 p.m. for me, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, it shall begin. So I wanted to start the vlog now before sprints start tonight. So I did my first roll and I actually got hungry, which leaves me needing to find a book with red, green, and white on the cover. And luckily, one of the host's favorites works for this, so I will also get a bonus little 50 GRC for reading a host favorite. And that's what I will be reading first for my very first book for Face Off weekend. That book is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I've been wanting to reread Heartstopper because obviously the second season just came out and I want to do a reread of the graphic novels, and they're also host favorites. I think they're Cal's host favorite, I think. So I've been kind of waiting for a good prompt for this to work for, and perfect, right on schedule, the very first flag, I can make this work. Obviously you see a lot of green, we have a red backpack, and Alice Oseman is written in white. So they're all three colors for Hungry. I have done it. So I will be reading Heartstopper for my first book for the Face Off weekend. This is not going to take long, but I can't start it until tonight on sprints. So I will come back to you once I have started this. I've already read Heartstopper, so I'm sure I am going to love this. I know this is going to be a 5-star read for me, but I'm excited to reread it and it be my first book for Face Off. I have no idea how these vlog is gonna go because we're going to have to do pretty short chit-chatty bits because I think I'm gonna end up reading a ton of books this weekend because we've done one sprint and I have finished Heartstopper Volume 1. Of course, 5 stars, it's Heartstopper. I loved being back with Nick and Charlie. It just made my heart just so happy to be returning to these characters and to watch them discover themselves and discover their love for each other in the first book. I just had a lovely time reading this and I read it all in one sprint. So now I am switching to a new book. So I have spun, and the country that I got this time is Lithuania. And for that, I needed green, red, and yellow. I'm pretty sure I picked it before the last sprint and then we did a whole chatty bit, but I'm pretty sure that's what I needed. And I'm going to be reading The Prince and the Troll by Rainbow Rowell. This is an Audible original short story that I ended up picking up on KU. It's pretty short. It's not going to take me very long to get through this, but it's based off fairy tales. There's a whole series of like fairy tale short stories. And when I saw these, I knew I was going to love them because I love fairy tales. So this works great. If you look at the actual cover on Amazon, obviously the Kindle cover is just black and white, but the actual cover is green. There's red flowers with little yellow centers on them, so it fits the prompt perfectly. And I'm going to read this. It's not going to take very long. It's a pretty short story novella. So I'm going to go read this short story and chat with you when I am done and see where else we will be traveling in the European Union. This was a very quick read. I got this done very, very quickly. We are just about to go into the next chatty bit, so I just have enough time to update you before I go and talk to everyone on Sprints. But I have finished this. I'm gonna give this 3 stars. It was cute, but also kind of odd. So basically, this follows Adam, who is a prince, and every day he goes across this bridge to go places in his town. And underneath this bridge lives a troll. Every day he starts to befriend this troll a little bit more, and they kind of fall for each other as we see the story go on. Every day, though, he brings the troll Starbucks. And a good 50% of this book is just talking about different types of Starbucks drinks and what they sell at Starbucks. Why that is the main plot of this story, I do not know. But they kind of fall in love somewhat, and he can't leave the road and she can't leave the bridge, so it's kind of like a doomed love story. It's a doomed love story with people who are obsessed with Starbucks. I'm gonna give this 3 stars and move on to my 3rd book of this face-off weekend. So I've already done my 3rd roll, and what I got was Finland, and I'm going to be picking up Heartstopper Volume 2. We're just gonna keep going through Heartstopper because, again, each one of these is 50 GRC, and again, I want to make my way through the entirety of Heartstopper over this weekend. The font is blue and Alice Oseman's font is white. There's also blue and white on the back. So we have the colors of the Finnish flag here. I'm gonna hop into this after we chat because there's only a couple more minutes on this sprint, but I should be able to get this done in the 3rd sprint and have 3 books done in 3 sprints. And I'm very happy with that ratio. Good morning. It is morning. I got up very early this morning and am on sprints with Victoria. We've been on sprints for about 2 hours now, and I have finished a couple of books that I wanted to let you know about. So last night I did finish Heartstopper Volume 2 during the sprint after I spoke to you, and then I did another roll in Roll to Germany, and I decided to pick up Heartstopper Volume 3. So I figured I would just kind of vlog these together because I've already spoken about Heartstopper in this vlog. Everyone who's watching this probably knows about Heartstopper, so like there was no need to do a vlog clip to let you know about that. So I finished this. I think this was Finland, if I recall correctly. So I finished Finland, Heartstopper Volume 2, and Germany I finished this morning during the 2nd sprint on Victoria's channel, which is what we're doing right now, and finished this one as well. So right now I've read 3 of the 4 Heartstopper graphic novels. Perfect. Getting all the GRC. I do plan on getting the 4th one in at some point, but right now I need an audiobook because I want to get breakfast and make coffee and do the morning things. So I've spun again and I got Ireland this time, which actually took me a second because that one had orange, and orange was not something I had a lot of, and also had an audiobook. Again, I needed an audiobook. So I've decided to pick up Emergency Skin by N.K. Jemisin. This is, I think, a dystopian novella short story. Other than that, I have no idea. And that could be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure that's what this is. I'm gonna read this while I get some breakfast, and I will see you when I finish. Hello, I realize this vlog clip is in basically the same place as the last one because it has been not even an hour. So I have finished Emergency Skin by N.K. Jemisin. This was really interesting. So basically the plot of this is a researcher has been sent from another planet many years ago. The founders of this kind of terraformed planet left Earth because Earth was dying. Earth was about to be no more. They left behind everyone they thought who was weak and didn't deserve to like go to this terraformed planet, basically to die on Earth. The rich, the wealthy went to this terraformed planet. They're now sending people back to basically Earth knowing that it's dead, to get some cells that they need to make technologically advanced skin. Did I fully understand all the science behind this? No, but we're gonna do our best. Anyway, the researcher arrives and upon arrival finds that Earth is not dead. It's actually thriving. There's cities, there's people. Everything is not what they expected to find, because when the founders left, basically the people of Earth came together, all the people that were left behind came together to work towards a common goal of saving the planet. And what did they need to do for everyone to survive and for everyone to move forward? What does that look like if we were all to basically work together? And that's what this book is kind of about in a nutshell. I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I enjoyed my time with it. Did I understand all of the science? No, but I understood enough to really think it was an interesting take on this idea. So now that I have finished that book, I have now spun again, and I spun Sweden. And for Sweden, I've decided to pick up Stuck with You by Ali Hazelwood. This is one of Ali Hazelwood's novellas, so I will be reading that for this prompt. You're in the middle of the very last sprint on Victoria's channel, and then we're moving over to Margaret's, and then on to me. So it has been a second since I've chatted with you, because we started sprints on my channel, so I've been doing that. I've been hosting sprints. We are on the second sprint on my channel, and earlier, before we switched, like right at the end of Margaret's sprints, I finished Stuck with You by Ali Hazelwood. This follows Sadie and Eric. So Sadie and Eric met 3 weeks ago and had a kind of instant infatuation, ended up hooking up and never speaking again for reasons. There was a drama, and we kind of worked through what happened 3 weeks ago to these characters to make it kind of fall apart so quickly. However, in the present timeline, they just got in an elevator, and the elevator is now stuck. They are stuck in an elevator. So they are having to kind of work through their issues. They're forced to be together. They're forced to talk it through and figure out what's going on. I will say it kind of leans on miscommunication quite a bit. And as I expect with an Ali Hazelwood novel, physical descriptions of the characters don't necessarily make 100% sense. I'm okay with that with Ali Hazelwood. Like, I've just come to expect that. But there's a point where she says she can't reach his clavicle to kiss his clavicle. And I'm like, how tall is this man and how short is this woman that that's impossible? This was a book, and I had an okay time with it. It's going to come out as a 3-star. There was nothing bad about it. There was nothing super excellent about it. But, you know, I had an okay time with it. So 3 stars it is. And that's pretty much all. It's a novella, so there's not that much to talk about. They get stuck in an elevator. They talk about what happened 3 weeks ago, and the book ends. So then I spun the wheel on my first sprint on camera, and I got Romania. And for that, I've decided to pick up Not So Kind Regards by Cleo Evans. This is a monster romance. I've already started it. It is spicy right from the get-go. It's a spicy book, for sure. And it's a male, female romance. I will come back and let you know my thoughts when I'm done. This is, again, a little bit of a longer read. I think this is the longest read I've read so far at a 5-hour audiobook. So even at 2 times speed, this is probably going to take me my entire set of sprints and maybe into the next person, which I think is Cal's sprints. So we'll see how long this takes, but this is my next read for Face Off. I have lost track of how many books I've read for Face Off. I think this is number 6 or number 7. Hello, everyone. It has been a minute since I've talked to you. The reason being is I started Not So Kind Regards on my sprints, and then when we switched to Cal sprints, I went and slept. I've been going nonstop for like 24 hours, so I needed a nap. So I took a nap, I had dinner, and then I jumped on Bethany's sprints, which is where I am currently. I think we're on the 2nd sprint on Bethany's channel, and I just finished this book. So I finished Not So Kind Regards. I'm going to give this a 3-star. It was just middle of the road for me. So basically, this is set in an office, and there's the Claws department and the Warts department. The Warts department is witches, the Claws department is monsters. So we're kind of following both departments. At the beginning of this book, the departments are being merged into one like business. And the witches and the monsters are not sure that they're happy about this, but we have two witches who are Caleb and Alex, who are already in kind of a workplace relationship. And then we have a monster who is Inferno. And Inferno meets the two boys and they start a romantic workplace relationship. And it soon becomes quite serious. They decide to be mates, which basically in this case is not to have children, but to basically in the space of like being married. It's similar to that. So that's what they decide to do. There is also an undertone of something's going on in this office now that they have merged the two companies. What is going on? And Caleb seems to be at the center of this as people are trying to like get Caleb and find out what's in his mind because he is a rare type of witch. And we follow the three of them trying to figure out why people are after Caleb, what is going on in this new company, and what is happening. This is an extremely smutty book. It is probably 60% smut, maybe even 70% smut and 30% plot. Like it's mostly smut. There's not a huge amount of plot in here. So that's probably why it ended up as a 3-star for me. I personally prefer my smutty romances to have a little bit more plot, closer to like the 50% mark, just because I still want a story. I don't just want complete smut. It's definitely more smut than plot. Anyway, 3 stars and it is done, and I have spun another flag spin. My next flag I rolled or spun on the spinner wheel was Bulgaria. And for that, I'm going to start a new manga series called Lizalette and the Witch's Forest. And I'm going to read volume 1, obviously, first. I think, the entire set of this. I have the first 5 volumes, and I think there are only 5 volumes. I will double check that before I come back. But I'm going to give this a start in the next sprint and see what I think of this manga series.
Never really know what's going on. Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart so slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Losing almost all my energy. It's getting hard to talk to you, and I'm the only one.
Hi friends, it has been a minute since I've chatted with you. It's been a minute. It was actually last night, and it's now 2 hours until the end of Face Off. We are basically at the end, and I have been reading all day, but the reason I haven't talked to you since I last talked to you was I decided once I started the manga series that I told you about that I would just binge the whole series. So there's 5 books out in the Lizalette and Witch Forest manga series. There is only 5. It has been on hiatus since 2013. So I was expecting it to kind of like wrap up at the end. And we're going to talk about that in a second because it didn't really do that in a way that was satisfying, which is sad. But basically, the first one, which is right here, follows Lizalette. Lizalette is the daughter of a king, and her father dies, and her brother takes over the throne. Her brother turns on her, and it's never really fully explained as to why. So he turns on Lizalette and basically gives her the option of death or exile. Lizalette decides to go into exile with 2 of their maids, which are twins, and that's where we pick up Lizalette's story. Lizalette is in this little house outside of this little village. And next to the village is the forest where it is rumored that witches live. Lizalette is making a garden when she is attacked by a witch and is saved by a gentleman who reminds her of someone in her past that was at the palace that she was very close to. And we follow the story of, is he the same person? Is he not? Is he there to protect Lizalette? Is he not? We don't really know. We see the witches. Are they good? Are they not? Are some of them good? Some of them not? One of the things I loved about this book with the witches was the witches, a lot of them had familiars. And I love the attitude of the familiars. They were really fun and some of my favorite characters in this book. These books are really cute and cozy. And there is a little bit of a darkness when talking about her brother, but he's kind of off doing his own thing and she is doing her thing in Exilement and she's happy to be there and making her garden and being with her friends, and everything's kind of fine for most of these books. They are really just cute. Anyway, like I said, I read all of them. So this has taken me all day to read all of them. I also had to get groceries and do other things, but this is what I've been working on when I have been reading. Book 1, I gave 4 stars. Book 2, 4 stars. Book 3, 4 stars. Book 4, 4 stars. Then we got to book 5. And unfortunately, the characters that I loved and thought I knew and thought I cared about were so different in book 5. They were acting so different and they were handling things in such a different way. And honestly, this book did not explain why. And it didn't really clean up all the loose threads that would make any of it make sense to me. So I found really disconnected from the last book. And I do know it's on hiatus and not necessarily done, but obviously they planned to take a very long break, if not a permanent break. And I feel like this was not the last book that you wanted. It just wasn't. And like I said, the characters were so different in this from what I knew them to be. And it was just a really big disappointment for me. And this one I ended up giving 2 stars. So like I said, I gave 4 stars to all of them except the last one, which I gave 2 stars. And we only have 2 hours left, not even 2 hours because I'm watching sprints. So there's like chatty bits as well. I did do a spin, but I had no books that I could finish in that allotted time. So this is going to be the end of my face-off journey. I will probably sightsee for London now, unless Brie drops a prompt, which I expect basically imminently. Am I correct? I don't know. By the time you see this, you'll know if I'm correct because we'll have seen the prompt. But that is the end of my face-off. I have read 12 books in 48 hours. I am very pleased to have submitted 12 books for Team Blue. I have no idea who won face-off. Again, by the time you see this, you already know that. But thank you so much for watching. What did you read for face-off? I would love to know what your favorite book of face-off was. My favorite books were the only 5 stars that I read, and they were rereads of Heartstopper. So that's not really surprising that Heartstopper was my favorite, but I'd love to know what your favorite was. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.